Hey guys, Wyatt Claypool here. And for something fun to do on New Year's Eve today, I want to take you through a top 10 list of 2024's worst Canadian MPs. This is a list put together by Bruce McGonigal, so make sure to go give him a follow. I have linked his account both in the description of this video as well as at the top of the comments. This was a really well put together list because not only does he rank all of the MPs, he also has a supplementary video to prove why they deserve the place that they got. We're going to go through it in reverse order since I want to see number 10 to number 1 rather than spoiling who was the worst MP this year. So let's get right into it. But before we do, I'm just going to remind you guys, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed. Like this video, leave a comment, make your predictions of who you think the worst top 10 are. Do whatever you want with that. And, let's get right into this. So Bruce McGonigal here, remember, go give him a follow. His number 10 choice is Francois Philippe Champagne. He says, Champ is another climate alarmist who seems to spend billions on green energy without actually providing any benefit to the climate or Canadian jobs. And here is the video that goes along with it.
Speaker, what Canadians will see today is one thing they will not hear from these conservative, Mr. Speaker, is the cost of inaction. The cost of forest fire, Mr. Speaker, the cost of flooding in our country, the cost of drought, Mr. Speaker. When each of these conservatives are standing up, they're telling Canadians they have no plan, Mr. Speaker, to fight climate change. On this side of the House, we recognize, like all Canadians, we need to act to save the planet. We need to act on climate change. That's why we're going to invest in Canadian. That's why we're going to continue to invest to make sure that we have a planet to live for children.
Oh my goodness. I could agree with this number 10 spot. I find this climate rhetoric just so tiring. Like, oh, you guys don't care about the climate, but we do. Guys, emissions have gone up while you guys have been in office. And I don't really care about emissions, but you guys are the ones who care. And for some reason, they've gone up, in part because you guys have been importing millions of people into the country per year. How insane is that we bring in like 1 million people, mostly from warm climate countries, into Canada in a year, and then we keep pretending like we're trying to lower our emissions? Why are we making it so that we're moving people from places where you don't need to burn much at all in order to survive to a place where you need to burn carbon all the time in order to actually, be able to survive? Anyways, now let's get into number 9. We have Kevin Lemieux here. Bruce says, Kevin is upset Pierre Poilievre called out CTV for airing a fake edited video to create a fake news narrative. I consider Kevin to be the Gollum of the House of Commons.
Disgraceful it was in terms of his personal attack on CTV. We're used to CBC. We have three national television networks. And because he doesn't like the factual information that's going out on the national networks, he takes the opportunity here on the floor of the House of Commons to attack them.
CTV News later apologized to Pierre Poilievre and had to fire the editors who put that clip together because it was so obviously trying to claim that Poilievre won an election to cut like universal dental and pharmacare. Those are bad programs, but obviously it was making it look like Pierre Poilievre is a terribly mean-hearted man who wants to get rid of benefits for Canadians, rather than what Poilievre had been saying, that he wants to have a carbon tax election because his main thing is getting rid of the carbon tax. But yeah, Kevin Lemieux does seem a little bit Gollumish. And again, it was such a bad, like a talking point on the Conservatives that you guys keep attacking the media. Well, play the tape. What did the media do? Every time people actually see the tape, they're like, oh, Poilievre's right, and his popularity goes up. But here we have number 8, Mark Holland. I disagree with Bruce on this one because Mark Holland, I feel like, should probably be higher up on the scale. I actually don't know who anyone is outside of number 1. I just immediately scrolled down to 10. Mark Holland, maybe Bruce is going to prove me wrong with his choices from 7 to 2 on why Mark Holland deserves to be this low, but I'd put him at like 3 or 4, not knowing who the other people Bruce's nominated are. But he says, Mark tells kids the planet will burn if parents take them on summer road trip. May this video haunt Mark for the rest of his days. And this is why I think he should be higher on the list. This is what, look at the faces of people around him while he does this.
Good news, kids. You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks. And the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
I think that one speaks for itself. I don't even think I need to do any commentary on that. The best commentary I could give it is just looking at looking at the faces of the Liberals behind them. Anyways, so now we get to number 7, and now we're getting into some big hitters. We have Jennifer O'Connell here, Boohoo Barbie in all of her glory. Here, let's see it.
Might as well, Madam Speaker, speak about what happened yesterday at the Public Safety Committee, where there was pretty shocking testimony about foreign interference in the Conservative election race, confirming that the member from Calgary Nose Hill, in fact, received an angry phone call from the Indian consulate and brought that forward to Mr. Brown's leadership campaign, where they, in fact, changed his language to make the Indian consulate happy. Why aren't Conservatives talking?
My goodness. Yeah, she was the one who said, boo-hoo, get over it. I forget what that was about. I think that was like some civil liberties violation or something like that, or people like struggling to make ends meet. That foreign interference fake scandal is annoying, where it's like the Indian government interfered because a consulate general contacted an MP over something insane Patrick Brown was doing. Should they do that? No. But is that really the summation? Is that really how foreign interference works? Not really. A phone call from a consulate does not equal they're trying to twist the race, because Patrick Brown wasn't going to win anyways, because Patrick Brown is a loser who deserves to lose. He's a horrible person who cozies up with extremists like Khalistanis, the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Tamil Tigers. Anyways, here is number 6. Stephen Guilbeault, I think, maybe a little bit higher on this guy too, but I will let Bruce's list be his list. He says, Stephen celebrates being awarded the Climate Scorecard 2024 Leadership Award. This after 2023 saw Canada burn like never before, record in our history. Jasper National Park would go on to burn a month later. Numerous questions have arisen over, and then like basically the government's inaction in terms of forest management and whatnot. And that is true. The funny thing is that they try and pretend like also 2023 was like record burning years. Most of the burning was because of bad forest management, but even when you take it by province, it wasn't even that bad of a fire year compared to other ones, but they're trying to spin this narrative out of it that it's like that's the year that climate change came for Canada. Here's the clip.
We've just received, in fact, the Climate Scorecard 2024 Government Climate Leadership Award, Mr. Speaker. Canada.
If I was him, I would have included the clip of Stephen Guilbeault referring to himself as a proud socialist, because that's one of those things where, like, how does anyone get away with that without the media running them down? I can agree with this one. This one's pretty great. Number 5, we have Arif Alvi. Arif admits he got into politics to punish anyone who disagrees with Islam in a matter he considers Islamophobic. Arif made number 5 because despite 50,000 overdose deaths, he fixated instead on Bill C-63 to go after people opposing the woke WEF and Islam. Yeah, okay, so let's check this out. And he is like an absolute C-list politician. Think about it. They went from Wilson Raybould to David Lametti, now down to Arif Alvi. I don't like any of those people. Even Jody Wilson-Raybould, she's actually a bad justice minister and AG when she was in, before she got kicked out for having a moral fiber in her being and standing up to Trudeau for a second. But overall, she was actually quite bad for the justice system. But Arif Alvi is on another level. He has no charisma. He has nothing to suggest that he should be in this position, but he is an absolute pawn for Trudeau and has been pushing censorship bills and ignoring sky-high crime.
Ran for office for a number of reasons in 2015. The chief among them was to fight against discrimination and to fight for equality in what I viewed as an increasingly polarized world. In recent years, we have seen that polarization deepen and hatred fester, including at home here in Canada. I would never have fathomed that in 2024, Canada would actually lead the G7 in the number of deaths attributable to Islamophobia. Among our allies, it is Canada that has experienced.
It's literally like single digits. It's like nothing. Look at the actual attacks, like anti-Semitic attacks or attacks on churches. Those blow those numbers out of the water.
The most fatal attacks against Muslims in the G7. 11.
Like that's bad. If it's for anti-Islam reasons, people are being attacked. Awful. But also, Arif Alvi's a complete clown because he doesn't care about the other actual violence. Okay, this is a good one, and we just talked about her earlier today with Daniel Boardman. Number 4 on the list is Yara Sargs, a very good competitive placement for her. I know she's been trying all year to beclown herself to get onto this list. She was aiming to get up in the high numbers for Bruce McGonigal, and she achieved it. So he says, Yara says it's illegal to divert safe supply. If they can crack down on supply diversion, why can't they crack down on the lethal drugs poisoning 50,000 Canadians to death since Trudeau came into power? Also, she ended up, remember, during the Freedom Convoy, claimed that the, honking horns, honk honk, equals Heil Hitler, because Yara Sargs is a moron. And even then, earlier this year, she shook hands and met with Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank of Israel, who literally runs a pay-for-slay program where the families of terrorists get paid out a pension if their son dies murdering Jews in Israel. That's how insane she is.
Mr. Speaker, the member well knows that first and foremost, diversion is illegal in this country of any narcotics. Doesn't matter what they're for, ADHD, methamphetamines, or anything else of the sort.
She's giving me such strong Kamala Harris vibes right now. She has that kind of lazy way of talking, Mr. Speaker. We know that diverting drugs in any capacity is illegal. It's like, what are you... Talk normally, please.
When it comes to prescribed alternatives, Mr. Speaker, it is one tool of many to combat the overdose crisis in this country, to save lives, Mr. Speaker. They choose an either or and a war on drugs policy that will leave people dead in the streets rather than getting them to health care. Shame on them, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, but that's why we have record deaths, Yara. Good job. Good job. What an absolute simpleton. Anyways, now moving on to the top 3 guys. These are the real heavy hitters. Taken bronze this year. In 3rd place, we have Chrystia Freeland. Despite being center stage at the World Economic Forum, it's difficult to make sense of what Chrystia Freeland is saying. This is what Bruce McGonigal has written here. Liberals invested huge in EV batteries and cars, only to watch that money vanish without new factories or way more Canadian electric vehicles.
And I spoke yesterday to a very significant international business leader who is also a big investor in Canada. And he said to me, all the countries in the world need to be very careful that decarbonization does not mean deindustrialization. I thought that was an extremely smart comment, and Canada is absolutely determined that decarbonization for us will mean more jobs, more growth, more manufacturing, and we recognize government needs to play a role to make that happen.
My goodness, it's just, all these people are socialists when you scratch below the surface enough. They always believe and the government needs to be there to make all this work, to get this, to secure the growth. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Okay, now we have number 2 on the list, Randy Boissonnault. Obviously, Randy, or maybe other Randy, can also get number 2. It is the 2nd place, so I think we can give it to 2 of them. Randy warns the planet will burn if we don't pay more money for liberal slush funds. Randy made number 2 slot because there are 2 of him, and no one can seem to find the second Randy who really cashed in big on federal contracts. As you know, he ran the global health imports with his weirdo friend, and they ended up basically taking contracts and fleecing the government, pretending to be an Indigenous-owned firm while Randy was still in the government. Because he got elected in 2015, he was defeated in 2019, but he got back in 2021. And the firm he started in 2020 to take advantage of COVID contracts kept going while he was reelected and he was a minister in the cabinet.
Percent of residents want this government to fight climate change. We couldn't breathe the smoke in the air on September long weekend or May long weekend. These guys want to let the planet burn. We're going to defend the planet, put more money in the pockets of Albertans. They can do what they want to do. We're going to defend Canadians and make sure there's a planet for our kids and our grandkids.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you had to find out where the cocaine was that was allegedly being given out by one of the associates of their firm, I'm not sure if Randy might have it based on that clip. Anyways, you know who it is. Number one, the worst MP in Canada, Justin Trudeau. I am very shocked Mark Garretson did not make this list because he is almost consistently one of the worst MPs on any given day. So that's my big disagreement on Bruce McGonigal here, but he did a good job putting this list together, so go give him a follow. But he says, Justin Trudeau says Canadians don't want to be great. Feel free to add your own least favorite MP in the comment section, and I encourage you guys to do that in the comment section to this YouTube video. Who do you think deserve to be on this list, and what order would you have put them in if you want to do that?
Under the previous Conservative government, everything was perfect. And what he is proposing to do is to make Canada great again. That is not what Canadians want. He is pining for a nostalgia that, quite frankly, Canadians do not feel. They remember what he did as part of Stephen Harper's failed housing minister. He remembers the people the rights of Indigenous peoples violated, the ignoring of environmental responsibilities, and the lack of an environmental and economic plan for the future.
He's just so bad, honestly. He used to be faster on his feet than this, and then now he's like somehow tripping over himself in a statement saying Canadians don't want Canada to be great again. And it's like, dude, you know what you're saying? I know you think that you're like making an anti-Trump jab, but even those anti-Trump people are going to be like, dude, rephrase it. Say it a different way. But that's Justin Trudeau for you. Again, I think Mark Garretson deserves to be on this list because that guy was absolutely awful all year, which he has been since he first got into politics. But what can you do? I didn't make the list. Bruce did, and he did a good job of it. Anyways, but that should be it for me today, guys. Just another reminder, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, do all those other great things, and I'll see you guys next time.